Welcome to Not Advised, the fantasy football podcast not based on research. So if you lose, don't blame us. But if you win, we're definitely taking credit.
Hey guys, welcome back to the best part of the podcast. It is our college version this week of the Not Advised podcast. I'm CJ, and I think Alabama is going to roll their way to national championship.
My name's Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, my name's JD, and I'm glad Florida did not hire Lane Kiffin.
Raymond, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Tell us more, JD. How do we feel about Lane Kiffin jumping right into it, ending up in LSU with all the drama that surrounded it?
I think the narcissism of Lane Kiffin ended up getting to me, and seeing how long and drawn out it was, the assumption was, oh, he's not going to do what he did when he left from Tennessee, and then when he left from Alabama to FAU, making it this bigger deal than it is. Like, oh, he's learned his lesson, and you hear it throughout the media, and then he drew it out, and it's like everything exploded in his face, and I'm like, you know what? I'm actually glad Florida's not on the receiving end of that, because it wouldn't have felt right if he'd come to Florida, because I feel like at the very least, like, a lot of Florida fans, a lot of Florida boosters are very, they're a little more old school. They care about reputation, they care about prestige, and they care about looking a certain way. And I think just with the way things transpired, it feels like it fits LSU a lot more than it fits how it would be for Florida, because the reality is, it's like, if he doesn't win a natty in 3 or 4 years, like, he's out.
Yeah, he's cooked.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like, would I be surprised if he came to Florida and didn't win? Not at all. But it feels like with John Summerall and like what he's doing and who he is, it feels a lot.
Yeah, it feels like if you're trying to like holler at a girl and she's cheating on her boyfriend with you, like she's gonna cheat with you, she's gonna cheat on you, kind of like that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's the best way I could put it.
Why would you expect anything different?
Yeah,
It's
That's
like
I needed that analogy for Matt.
yeah, exactly. That would help.
We all thought he was a changed man, and then I just felt like it was unnecessary to prolong it as long as it was.
Yeah.
Right. I saw a really wild take on Twitter that I couldn't help to save it for this podcast. Was the reason the decision was drawn out for so long is he was waiting to see if Alabama won in the Iron Bowl. And then there was this crazy thing how DeBoer was going to end up in Penn State, and then he was going to end up at Alabama.
I don't know. I mean, is it plausible? Maybe, but I think it's more a far-fetched rumor.
Yeah.
I would agree. I
cool.
think Alabama is his dream job.
It's got to be, right?
It has to be.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Lane Kiffin from the very start was like, yeah, I'm going to hold out and wait till, Auburn beats Alabama, because like the way Alabama was playing at the time, it was just like, there was never really a thought that DeBoer would leave.
Right.
And it's like, well, I mean, maybe if the opportunity opened up, sure, maybe. But I also kind of think it's like all of the people at Alabama doing their due diligence on Lane Kiffin, or I mean, Kalen DeBoer, I couldn't imagine that they would be like, yeah, let's just like throw everything away for Lane Kiffin. Like, no top 5, top 10 team.
Right. Especially after just the short stint, right? The short amount of time. I don't think it was ever a real thing, and it was just a rumor on the internet, but I kind of got excited for it. I'm not going to lie.
Even Saban said LSU was like a better program to coach than Alabama. Obviously, he won more at Alabama, but maybe not a better program. His is favorite.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't Alabama is what it is now because of Nick Saban.
Right.
100%.
LSU was still that while Saban, was at Alabama,
Yeah, Alabama was dog water before Nick Saban.
Exactly, yeah.
I did see this weekend on game day, though, or maybe on the Pat McAfee show, where Saban said that he didn't tell Lane to take the LSU job.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Pat came out and asked him that he was, trying to convince Lane to go to LSU, but Nick Saban said that now, did he? Who knows? But he claimed that he didn't convince Lane to go to LSU. But I think it's obvious from early on, if you don't say yes and extend like all these other coaches have done, then it was inevitable that he's leaving. It was just a matter for who. Now we'll see. We'll see what happens after he signed and he landed. There's been pictures and all these commits floating around that they're going to LSU,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're not even at
My game day was to go sign 5 stars.
Yeah, right, exactly. So we'll see what the transfer portal looks like once it opens up. But if he's getting all these 5 stars to commit,
Because its
maybe
portal opens January 2nd.
yeah, it
So now
opens.
you're seeing all of these players commit to going or committing to being in the transfer portal, and they're basically being shopped around.
Yep,
January 2nd hits, and
it's
deals will
free
be
reign.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what all the coaches are complaining about with the season schedule because they're about to play the quarterfinal game of the playoffs, and the
The day.
transfer portal opens up.
Yeah. I mean, that semifinal game, yeah. I mean, but by the time the semifinal game comes, it's like, who's in, who's out. It was the Penn
Yeah,
State situation last year.
exactly. Raymond, do you think there needs to be change as far as the recruiting standpoint goes, or a transfer portal goes in college football?
Yeah, nothing should happen until after the season. Just like
Yeah,
every other,
professional sport.
yeah,
Yeah,
every other sport period. Like you're not gonna start free agency during the Super Bowl.
right.
Like things just
Well,
ain't don't happen that way.
there was never a problem before NIL.
That's
Correct.
yeah.
So
That's
once NIL came, then all of these things, it was just a domino effect.
well, what did it is they changed the way you
The
could
transfer
transfer.
portal.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it used to just be grad transfer,
correct. Yeah,
and
you
then
used to could only be grad transfers.
well, because that then it upheld the prestige of going Division 1,
Correct. Yeah.
and
Now it doesn't matter.
now it doesn't matter, and that's
Uh,
kind of the sucky part.
Yeah, they changed it twice. They've changed it twice since then. So at first it was you could only transfer once, I believe it was, and now you can transfer however many times you want.
Yeah, I don't think there's technically a limit.
Yeah, which is I think if you put a limit back on it, it kind of changes the scheme of things. And then like Raymond just said, you put a better a date on it, right? It's got to be after January 19th now, right? Like after the Natty. So it's like you do it, in the
Yeah.
winter.
Well, it's tough because it's like you have to. I think the way it's the date it is now, it's because of the
The
schools.
school. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
But
But like,
well,
how does it
always
change things if Ole Miss still had Lane and they win the championship? Like, does he stay, or does he
Right.
still sign the contract?
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, that kind of goes back to your signing class too. It's like, well, hey, I'm the coach of Ole Miss, and you sell your recruit, and you got this kind of class, and then hey, I'm actually out, and I mean, it's so stupid with how it goes, but I think this is the political financial side that is yet to be figured out, and we would be naive to think they've not had these conversations, and there's a reason it's not changed. It's like the whole reason Notre Dame's not a conference. There's politics behind it.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, I don't know what the right answer is. Raymond, what were you going to say?
Oh, that's all I had was about
Yeah.
the if they won the championship, like how
Oh,
would that
right.
change things? Like I think he still probably leaves for LSU, but it definitely makes it a little bit more enticing to say because now he's got that championship.
Well, that's
for Ole
kind of what I
That's
was
what he's
thinking about.
chasing
But
for.
you have, and another coach like John
Mhm.
Sumrall who leaves to go to Florida. You go and you draw probably the best team to play in Ole Miss, a team that you've already seen. So you have notes on, so they can go in if they play as good as they did when they beat North Texas. Like, would we be? I would be surprised if they beat Ole Miss, but the chances of them beating them are a lot more likely because they're a little,
Yeah.
and does that change the trajectory of John Sumrall going to another team? If, hey, let's say you make a Cinderella run and you make it to the Natty, like, who knows? Like those are the
That would
things
be
that go through your
crazy.
head.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with you. And that's the difference between like the school allowing the coach to finish what he's built versus, them getting angry at Lane, which I still like I still understand both sides of that of why Lane's not coaching the playoffs, but it's like, come on. Like
Mm-hmm.
it should be also something with college football that it can't be up to the school. I feel like it should be either you're in or you're out if you take another job.
Well, I feel like that kind of goes back to your contract situation.
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
like that should, like, with the football playoff how it is now, it really wasn't as much of a problem with the with just 4 teams because
Right.
you really only had 2 games, and it's like,
Right.
it's just funny. It was just the Lane Kiffin situation when he was at Alabama, which was like, are you going to coach? Like, we're going to coach the semi-playoff game, but like, are you going to coach the Natty?
Right.
And now it's like, hey, like, are you going to even coach? The first or second round, or like, what's the real deal?
Yeah.
So
We just got some breaking news.
Let's hear it.
Heisman Trophy finalists just got announced.
oh yeah,
Who are the
Perfect
finalists?
time. Got Fernando Mendoza,
Yep.
Jeremiah Love,
Mm-hmm.
Diego Pavia,
Wow.
and Julian Sayin.
Wow. I think since Indiana beat Ohio State, I think it's Fernando Mendoza's all day.
Oh,
I
100%.
would love to see the running back get it. I'd love to see Love get love, but I think it's Fernando's.
yeah. I think there is a premium on winning as much as there is statistics, and I
Mhm.
think that's another reason that Ashton Genty did not win last year. Which I know, CJ, you and I had long conversations about that, but I just think you can't. There is a huge premium on Fernando Mendoza doing what he did and beating Ohio State, and it's not like he played, out of his mind, insane like you would see like someone like RG3 or Tim Tebow, play, or even like
Good
Cam
pulls.
Ward, who's just like unreal when you see this guy on the field. But it's just you get the job done and you play out of your mind.
He's about to get a big payday.
Yeah.
Heisman Trophy,
He's
number
gonna be
1
a
overall
Las Vegas
pick.
Raider.
Hopefully New Orleans Saint.
If I think if Genty didn't get it last year, I just think there's no shot Love gets it. Unfortunately,
I think Pavia will be number 2, just because the media. Kind of like the same thing, in my opinion, that happened last year with Travis Hunter. I don't think he should. I think Genty should have won it, but I think just everybody's pushing the narrative.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
I love that Diego's in it. But I mean his stats are kind of unbelievable for Vanderbilt. But again, I don't think it's enough. I mean, you have an undefeated Indiana team,
Yeah.
that's a conference champion with a quarterback,
I think it's the intangibles behind the award too.
Yep.
It's like, obviously, Colorado they could not have won so many games without Travis Hunter and making some
look at 'em this year.
insanely incredible plays. Yeah, exactly.
Imagine 2 years ago just saying a Vanderbilt and an Indiana quarterback would be in the Heisman Trophy running.
Yeah, no shot.
Insane.
Yeah, no
I
way.
think Jeremiah Love will just finish 4th, Irish. He might not even come.
Leads us right into our next conversation. Let's talk about these rankings, the championships, the college football playoffs. Do we want to begin and talk about seeds 1 through 12, or do we want to talk about how we got here from Raymond's happy perspective?
Now let's talk about Raymond's happy perspective. Who cares about the 1 through 12? We'll get to those.
Okay, Raymond.
Those are locks anyway.
Let's hear it. How do you feel how surprised were you when they announced Miami in over Notre Dame?
I was extremely surprised. Usually everybody hates Miami, but they're getting a lot of respect. I think they were listening to Saban, thankfully. I think they are probably one of the more dangerous teams in the playoffs. Just depends on how Carson Beck plays. You're going to get good Beck or bad Beck. They could win the whole thing, but they could get bounced round 1. It's really no in between. I don't think JMU or Tulane should be in there, but I'm happy Miami got in.
That's the conversation I want to have next. JD, what are your thoughts about Miami getting in over Notre Dame?
That's a tough one for me. Like, do I think Miami deserves the right to be in there? Yeah, but like, do I think the better team got in? No.
We played them head to head.
I mean, I think the best.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but it's like, I just feel like if you put both teams on the field now and there was a spread, what would the spread be?
Yeah, but if you go the opposite way, like, teams are just going to schedule like cupcake schedules. Like,
they can't because of the Notre Dame situation. So I think it's like, it kind of goes hand in hand. That's why I think Miami deserves the right to be in the game, but that doesn't mean, you know, Notre Dame should be out
But
because
the
it's like
question too is like, who'd they beat this year?
Notre Dame?
yeah,
Yeah.
nobody.
Nobody. They don't
Yeah.
have to play
Nobody.
anybody because they're not in a conference.
Well,
So,
that's the
like,
hard part is like you don't really
yeah.
know how good they are. So it's like according to your eye test, it's technically they are good, but it feels like it's a tougher conversation to have because the game was played so early on in the year. I
Mhm.
think if that game was played last weekend or 2 weekends ago, people
Mhm.
would be like, "Oh, it's an automatic out." And
Right.
then just listening to the commissioner, or the college football playoff chair, whatever his name is, like that guy's an absolute clown.
Dude, he just said a bunch of words. There's nothing behind those words at all.
My God. I mean, I
I
put in our group text, like, I wish he would just join the college football show,
yeah,
like,
he
actually
could never.
banter with people.
I think a good point is that people the counter argument to what you were just saying, JD, was Notre Dame went to the championship last year, so they
Mhm.
may not technically play anybody during the regular season, but they are or were a good enough team to where they can make a playoff run. Now, the other conversation I want to have before we hop into this is I do agree that Miami is probably the best ACC team. No, especially if you lose to Duke in the championship game. Come on now.
Right.
Something does need to change. I don't think the 12 best teams are in the playoffs.
No,
No.
definitely not.
No
I don't
shot.
know how you continue, now we're 2 years in, to give a James Madison, a JMU, or a Tulane a playoff spot. Now I know it's part of the deal and the contracts, and they have to get in.
It's outdated though, because I'm pretty sure it's just like back in the day when Boise State would go 13-0 every
With-
single year and
With
never
Kellen
get a
Moore at
shot.
quarterback.
Yeah, but that's not really relevant now because no teams are doing that.
Like, we want the 12 best teams to be in.
Yeah.
And that would be then Notre Dame
Yeah.
in Texas, Vandy,
Yeah.
BYU,
Who was 11?
BYU, I think.
Yeah, and 12 was Notre Dame or whatever, vice
Yeah, I
versa.
think they're flip-flop.
Yeah, but you drop Tulane and JMU, throw Texas and Notre Dame in there, and man, that would be
You put
electric.
Texas and Vandy in there, and it'd still be 100
Yeah.
times better.
Yeah.
That's the whole problem with it. It's like I feel
Correct.
like 16 teams is probably the better version of that because then you're going to get at least 16 really, really good teams or the best teams, quote unquote. But that also, everybody has to be in agreement that like, hey, we're not going to show any partiality to either conference because I know the whole reason, the Big Ten doesn't, want anything more is like they want automatic bids. Just
Yeah,
represent their conference because they know, hey,
it's
like we're
tough.
only going to get probably 3 to 4 teams in there on a yearly basis, and it's going to be all the SEC teams. So if you split bids between the both and you let everybody else fight for it, like that's quote unquote fair, but it's like we're also taking away the idea of who rightfully should be playing for a championship.
Yeah, I think to me, 16 may be too many because then you get like the bottom tier schools
But I just
who,
feel like it would appease everybody more than
yeah,
not.
of
Like,
course.
what's the
But then you have
did
teams
you
from
say one
like
extra game?
yeah, then you have 20 to 25 teams who are pissed because they didn't get in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if it does expand again, um, I think the championship games are meaningless.
Yeah, 100%. I think the championship
Then
game.
they have to pivot to something else. Does last week then start the playoffs? Does that count as round one of the playoffs?
Yeah, playing for like
Yeah,
playing
you
for a bye week.
yeah, you call it something else, but yeah, exactly. You know,
Yeah, it would. I mean, it's like I think there's this fine line of like the college football prestige and the college football, just the way it's always been. Because I mean, over the weekend I was thinking about the NFL. I was like, man, the NFL has it so perfect with it's just straight up records and then divisional records, and the way they're all divided up is best team in the pod, quote unquote, on. And I know there was like a little bit of talk about the SEC doing that, before Texas and Oklahoma joined. And I thought about, I was like, oh yeah, it's probably the best way to go about it. And then now that we're here, I'm like, that is a way better idea than what we're dealing with right now.
yeah, it's a disaster. And then you look at some of these conferences like the ACC, right? assuming you know what the ACC stands for, right? And then you have Cal. You have Cal and Stanford in the ACC and SMU. So to me, it almost like the conferences at this point are also kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like you have your two powerhouses with the SEC and the Big 12, and then all these little mini conferences. But like at what point does Cal and Stanford and SMU do anything for the ACC,
Well,
right?
I mean, I think that's where it's like the Big Ten and the SEC have to just create their own league.
Yeah, right,
The Big Ten
yeah,
and the SEC, it's like no one would be complaining about
correct.
who the best team in the country is. I
I
mean, like
agree.
maybe you could poach like Clemson and
Sure.
Miami and some other
Realign everything.
realign everything. But I think if there's another mass realignment, split them into two divisions and then you rock and roll.
Yeah, go ahead, Raymond.
I was gonna say, or just like obviously take a major overhaul and it's like a northeast, southwest, 4 divisions,
Yeah.
4 however many teams from each division, and like a wild card basically.
Yeah, that's
But-
exactly what I was going
But
to say.
then you're gonna have to start actually scheduling real teams instead of playing JMU or Coastal
Yeah.
Carolina or whoever.
Well, you could have a slightly shorter season and end up getting to the same result at the end of the year.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which I mean, it sucks and it doesn't at the same time because when you think about it, it's like, oh, that does sound like it's a lot of fun, but then you kind of start taking away the I don't want to say take away some of the rivalries, but it's like a lot of the tradition that's been built in around how
Right.
the season's done. It's just like, oh, are we willing to go through a total overhaul of traditions now being made because it's not also not going to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a lot harder.
Yeah, I don't think there's any real answer.
Yeah. Well, think about this. Remember when, obviously, when we had the BCS and they were moving
Mhm.
to a 14 playoff, it was a huge deal, and I think it was like 2 year. It was like a 2-year hiatus, not hiatus, but it was like you had to wait for 2 years until it actually happened, and now, with this playoff bracket, what it is now, last year was the first year, this is the second year, and next
Mhm.
year will look totally different. It just feels so weird. It's like it's going to be ever changing until
Correct.
it's quote unquote locked
Right.
in. I feel
Yeah.
like we as fans are being robbed because of the fans' impatience. So it's like people are rushing to make a decision. It's like, well,
Mhm.
these people over here are saying this, these people over here are saying this, and then there's a lot of money that we as fans don't know about what that's being exchanged.
Yeah, I totally agree, and uh, I think there's only one way to resolve all this, and I think it's by making Nick Saban the commissioner of college football.
He is the
I,
GOAT.
I would rather have Josh Pate be college football commissioner.
Listen, Nick Saban made a great point on Sunday whenever after they released these rankings. I mean, we
What do you
want essentially we want the best teams. Like we can't give in to the conference championships of the lower tiers, or if we do, like again, like you had just said, change it all up again with a bracket style. But then that prolongs the season. Is there another game? Is it a shorter regular season? Did the playoffs start, last week? You know, that's for conversations I don't know if any of us expected that we were having
Right.
whenever we heard or they announced that the playoffs were coming to college football.
Like no matter what, we're just always gonna want more. I feel like when it was the
Always.
BCS, we wanted playoffs. When it's playoffs, we wanted bigger playoffs.
Right.
When we
I feel
get bigger
like if there was like a
playoffs,
more proper preseason, I think that would solve a lot of things because like people are
Mhm.
forced to like if you're Georgia or Clemson or Miami or Florida, generally your first game of the year is going to or Alabama
It's
sometimes.
cupcake.
Well, no, I was gonna say it's gonna be a really good game, like Georgia
Oh,
Clemson.
the kickoff?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like somebody's gonna get a really good draw that
correct.
year, but the problem is it's like all coaches say is like we literally don't know who we have. And then that's the whole idea of the preseason in the NFL. It's like, hey,
Right.
like you play your players, who's who. Like, we drafted you. We don't know what you look like. I know that the NFL has a ton of joint practices, no joint practices in uh, college that I know
Yeah.
of. So
Yeah, I mean, look at Texas, Ohio State, first game of the season, to your point.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, that game literally just meant nothing.
Yeah.
It pretty much kept Texas out the playoffs.
It did, because Texas would have made it if they had not played that
Yeah.
game and they kept their loss to Florida. It wouldn't have been a big deal.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, losing to the number 1 team overall at that time, or number 2, like,
Yeah,
really shouldn't even be held against them. They lost by 7 points.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, and I know the committee doesn't count a good or a bad loss.
Right. It's interesting.
Unless you're Notre Dame.
Unless you're Notre Dame.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate Notre Dame. Let's move on to the bracket, though. I feel like we could keep going, but let's move on. Let's talk about the first game that we have coming up, December the 20th at 6:30 on TNT or True TV. We have James Madison versus Oregon. Oregon's the home team. So one thing I just realized earlier today is that this first round of the playoffs, they have home teams, like they're playing at the schools and not a neutral site.
Correct.
That was interesting for me to find out about. The next game we'll talk about. I mean, what do we think the score is going to be? The Oregon JMU, like 66 to
Oregon,
nothing.
they're a 21-point favorite, so
It's going to be more than that.
Don't even get off the bus. Just move them on.
yeah,
Like, there's no point.
yeah.
Like, I think about it, and it's like whenever I go to play college football, right? And I'm like play with the 2-star school, and I go up against Oregon. Like, that's got to be what it's like. Like, there's no way they're even gonna score.
If you were to play NCAA, like, you wouldn't even choose to rebuild JMU. Like, it's just just move on.
Right.
Like, just Oregon, Texas Tech. Just lock it in.
Yeah. 100%.
Oregon, Texas Tech. Yeah, for sure. Going down the first round, Alabama and Oklahoma. One thing I saw about this game, non-biased here, there's supposed to be snow on Friday. Yeah, on the 19th, it's supposed to be snow in Norman. So you may have an Oklahoma-Alabama snow game. I don't know if that's real. I saw it on the internet, but that would be crazy.
It would be crazy.
That would be wild.
Give me Alabama.
Wait, is Alabama
by
gonna
10 points.
Are they gonna have their starting center back and Jam Miller's out for the year?
No idea, brother. No idea. No idea. Stay tuned.
I just feel like if Jam Miller's out and
We're cooked.
you're cooked, and your offensive lineman, then
I think Proctor's back. I think the O-line is supposed to be healthy, but I don't know about Jam.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, Oklahoma's the favorite by 1.5 points. I don't know. I'd give me Oklahoma.
I got Bama 23-13.
I love that, Raymond. I knew we were friends. Give me Bama. I think it'll be interesting because if it's the same team that showed the same Alabama team that was the second round of Georgia to hurt Alabama, no chance, right? Like all 4 quarters, all 3 phases looked like the first quarter of the Alabama defense looked good, and then it fell off because they couldn't keep it. They were on the field so long. But then you had a block punt, whenever you're trying to punt it from your 5-yard line. So it depends on what team shows up. So get off the bus for this, but if you're not healthy, I am a little nervous.
But I will say, I feel like the one thing you can always say about Alabama is when they get punched in the mouth, they're always going to get back up. And it's you can't count them out.
Yeah.
And it's well, obviously the writing's on the wall to just, move Oklahoma on to play Indiana. But I just kind of feel like nobody would be surprised if Alabama just curb stomped Oklahoma.
Yeah, for sure.
Not at all.
I mean
Oklahoma's got one of the best
defenses. Have an offense
though.
at this point.
Yeah.
So it's that's where you're just well, if neither team can move the ball, who's going to kick the most field goals or who's going to be able to barely move it enough? And it's well, I would trust, Ty Simpson in that offense to move it over John Mateer and his broken arm.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, brother, if it comes down to field goals, oh, God, we're out. Oh, God, we're out. We could kick better than our kicker, I swear.
Especially field goals in the snow.
I
can't imagine how different that is.
I feel like if it's a true snow game with these college, you got to just go for it on 4th, right? Like if it's 4th and 2, 4th and 3,
Yeah, these
Especially if
kids
you
don't
got a
play this.
kid from Tuscaloosa.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're not used to snow. Now, I don't know if it's actually going to snow, but that'd be sick. I do say by putting Alabama ninth, though, to face Oklahoma, I think it's the easier side of the bracket that we fell on.
I would not disagree. Yeah, I would
100%.
agree. But it's just if you're on the other side of the bracket and you're an SEC team, it's like it's all too familiar territory.
Right.
It's like
Exactly. That's exactly right.
the championship goes through Georgia or Ohio State, at the end of
Ooh,
the day.
yeah. And as
Like,
an Alabama team,
they get it there.
Georgia and Ohio State all too well, right? Like
Yeah, exactly. It's just like that's where it feels like, meh.
we touched on it earlier, but then we have Tulane and Ole Miss. Now,
He's
I
a
think
17.5-point favorite.
okay, there goes everything I was about to say. Well, they're a 17-point favorite. I don't know, man. Something about this game with, like you had mentioned earlier, everything that's going on with both Ole Miss and with Tulane, like the head coach, he could use the momentum going over to Florida,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Like, I
And
don't
Florida
know.
all supportive of him, like, balling out. Like, there have
Yeah.
not been any Florida fans that have been like, "Get your ass back here."
Yeah, no shot. Let him
Like,
see what he
"No,
can do.
go win." Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah,
think I think it's a closer game. I think it's a closer game.
Tulane 100% covers the spread. I listened to John Sumrall on the college football show, and when they were asking him about everything, and he was just like, "Yeah, we were outmatched, we were out schemed, we were out everything in that game. It's like we didn't do what we knew." This is the only reason I feel like, man, Tulane really could. That would be the one game you're like, you are the reason we're doing the college football playoff, because if
Yeah, for
if
sure.
all the top seeds win, it's just gonna feel like anticlimactic. That's how it'll feel. But I feel like you're 11 seed, yeah.
I would love to say, like, Ole Miss wants to come out there with some fire, pissed off. Lane Kiffin
Mhm.
left them. Let's go win this just to prove him wrong, rub it in his face. But nowadays, the truth is, half those players on Ole Miss are going to be on LSU next year, so it don't really matter. They're going to go follow their poppy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
exactly
plus the
right.
other
So
thing too is just like for what's his name? The defensive coordinator who took over the head coaching
Pete
job.
Golden.
For Pete Golding to
Yeah.
take over as head coach, it's like you don't just like flip the switch on and you're DC now. Okay, now you're head coach. It's like, well,
Mhm.
all the communication, Lane was your play caller. Lane had the final say so in every situation while Pete could just lock in on defense. So it's like understanding, hey, like, how is all this stuff going to play out is like not easy. And it was kind of like the same thing with Florida when they lost Billy Napier. It's like, hey, like, the quarterback's coach, you're closest with DJ Lagway. So in theory, everything should, go really well. But it's just like watching those games, there's just like a hot dumpster fire. And you're like, oh, in theory, everything's going to be better. So it's like, would I be surprised to see Ole Miss come out with a lot of fire? Like, no. But if Tulane schemes up a lot of things and like they end up getting really, really smart, I wouldn't be surprised at the least bit if, Tulane was to beat them by, a field goal or a few points. But and I just that kind of goes back to the game within the game. Can Ole Miss actually, if they lose, it's because they shot themselves in the foot, not because they got.
Yeah,
or
I agree 100%. To
I can see
Raymond's
them
point,
rolling over.
say that again?
I can see them rolling over and just, oh, well, Lane's not here. What's the point?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
If all those players are going to leave, like you said, then yeah, it's just like let's get out of here, salvage my body, because if I break my leg, there's my
Then
bag.
you're cooked. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you're Trinidad going
These
to LSU,
these players don't have playing incentives,
no, not at all.
only just to compete in the games.
Yeah, everybody's just mercenaries at this point.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's why Jamar Chase sat out during the COVID year. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, to that point, like these kids are risking millions and millions of dollars to
Yeah.
play a game that, at a school that they may not even be at. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. They may just be completely over. We'll see what Golden does with the locker room. I know that he's skipping all the press conference tours and trying to
Oh,
get the players to lock in, but will it work? Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, I think just from what I've heard, from our buddy Wes, it's like the players love Pete way more than I think they love Lane.
Yeah, I totally understand because when he was at Alabama, it was the same thing.
Really?
People loved him. I don't think he was that good, but the players seemed to like him. So he seems to be a player's coach.
Mm-hmm.
but is he a head coach? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a big question to answer.
Raymond, moving on. Miami takes Kyle Field at A&M. That game kind of pisses me off because that's the early game. I don't.
Yeah, you don't want to see Kyle Field at the early game.
No, I feel like the Ole Miss Tulane game should be the early game, but unfortunately, A&M and Miami's the early game that day. Raymond, let's hear your thoughts.
I actually prefer it to be a little earlier that day. Like everybody's not as rowdy,
Okay.
so be a little bit easier for Miami. But I think Miami defense is going to keep them in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I know A&M's got a really good defense too, so I expect like low scoring. Like I said earlier, it just depends on what Carson Beck you get. Best player on the field is going to be Malachi Toney. Doesn't matter. Canes by 3.
What's the Miami's defender's name that's first overall in the draft?
He's kind of died down a little bit. He doesn't get a lot of sacks, but Ruben Bain.
Yeah. What do you think? You think he's going to get to the A&M quarterback?
Oh yeah, he's gonna. A&M got a fast little quarterback. I'll give him that. Marcel Reese.
Yeah, he's pretty
Reed,
good.
Whatever his name is.
Yep, Marcel Reed.
But who have they beat this year?
A&M.
Yeah.
I
Notre
can't
Dame.
tell you. Notre Dame.
Yeah. Common theme here.
Yeah. Hey, both teams beat Notre Dame. That's
Yeah, they
exactly.
beat Notre Dame by 1. They beat LSU. They beat Missouri.
They only beat Notre Dame by 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, Miami was blowing them out, but then they kind of let the foot off the gas like they always. That's going to be the key. If Cristobal can keep his foot on the gas.
If they get up, they never stay up, Miami.
Yeah, no. They always like slowly lose the lead and then start scrambling. They got to have the right play calling, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep blowing them out. That's what they did last week, where they threw a last-second touchdown for no reason just to help prove a point.
Yeah, I did see that.
So it worked out for them, so I can't complain. But
does Miami have any injuries? Do you know?
Not any major ones right now. Again, I'll admit I'm a fair weather fan.
Sure.
I'm really just watching it for the prospects.
Of course.
But no, they're pretty healthy. I mean, biggest injury is Carson Beck's head. So
not mentally, but just
both. Yeah, actually,
both.
All
he
of
might
it.
He might throw 5 interceptions. He might throw 5 touchdowns.
Nobody
knows.
Literally
He's
don't
aware
know.
of that one.
Yeah, I know. You just don't know which Carson Beck is going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes me question everything, because Miami's coming into this game as they're coming in on their high horse. We deserve.
They're the underdog.
We're gonna prove a point. We're coming into Kyle Field. We weren't respected. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have Texas A&M, where it's like they had their first loss of the year at home against Texas. Obviously, got their teeth punched in. So it makes you think, it's like, well, Texas A&M, this is their first time being tested and being put in the fire. So this is a game where I think either Miami just blows them out, or not saying blow them out, but they beat them by 10 points like Texas did,
Mm-hmm.
or A&M wins by 21 or 20.
Yeah, A&M by 50.
Yeah, I think you're going to get one of two. I don't think this is going to be as tight of a game as the spread is.
What's the spread again?
For Texas A&M by 4.
That is
interesting. Need Carson Beck to go on a 2012 Joe Flacco run where he doesn't throw a single interception during the playoffs and gets to the Natty. I want to see him versus Georgia. That's the goal here.
Yeah, that would be sick.
I think that'd be sick. I think it kind of boils back down to which quarterback, takes this game by the horns.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's again, Marcel Reed, this is his first full year being the starter, getting his feet wet. He's
first big game.
First big game outside of Texas.
Yeah.
So it's the sample size I feel is small in these kind of games, but then for Carson Beck, it's he's a seasoned veteran. So it's even if he's playing bad, it's again, no one's going to be surprised if he plays well, because if he came out guns a-slinging like he did at the beginning of the year, then I think Miami definitely will beat them. But you literally don't know.
Yeah,
and it'll be electric.
That's been Carson Beck his whole career so far in college, though. It's you never know. Yeah,
1 week he's the first overall pick. Mm-hmm. Next week he's not getting drafted.
100%. I remember the SEC championship game. I think it was the SEC championship game last year where they did a piece on him where he's like, yeah, I want to be the #1 overall pick, blah, blah, blah. And then it just went straight
Yeah.
downhill. He transferred. And I was like, this dude might be lucky to be drafted at this point.
I think he'll get drafted, but he'll be a solid backup.
I mean,
Yeah,
he's
like a
gonna be
six-rounder.
Cam Ward, yeah.
Let me tell you, the Colts could really use him right now. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I would just for the potential Carson Beck versus Georgia, which I don't think they roll past Ohio State, but I'm going to root for Miami in this one, just for that potential hopeful. And then we have.
Listen, we can go to Texas now.
Hmm.
Both games will be in Texas. So it's Kyle Field and the Cotton Bowl
Yeah, that's
against
a
Ohio
Jerry's
State
World.
if they win.
Right? In Jerry's World.
Yeah.
Wow.
I will say if Alabama wins against Oklahoma, they're in the Rose Bowl.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is. But
Yeah, y'all don't have good luck in the Rose Bowl. Didn't y'all play Michigan in the Rose Bowl a couple years ago?
That's exactly what I was about to say. We don't have great luck in the Rose Bowl, so we'll see. That may have been a Nick Saban thing though.
Rose Bowl belongs to Oregon. Like, why are they doing that?
Yeah,
like,
right. I don't.
Oregon, USC,
I think
Washington,
it's just
somebody out west.
a rotating location.
Really?
Yeah.
The Rose Bowl? Is it not?
Well, all of the bowl games are rotating locations.
To me,
they
Well,
did move.
like
They moved the
rotating.
Cotton Bowl. I know that, but they just moved it to another spot in Texas.
Well, that's like, remember, like that was the only reason you saw Alabama in that game. It was
Yeah, you're probably right. I never thought of it.
like each semifinal game got there. It was already locked on like 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, and it's just like however it played out. And I think it's the same way with this, if I'm not mistaken.
Now that you say that, I do recall. I will say though that I feel like with the college football playoffs, especially with the bracket style, I do feel like they had the games laid out right. I will give them kudos. I feel like it's not. I feel like it's spread out enough. Everybody can rest. There's no like, oh, where they're playing back-to-back weeks. Like, oh, they're gonna be like super hurt coming into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Because you have an entire month between 1, 2, 3, 4 games.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, once you start that playoff push, that's why I
then
feel
it's weekly, but
that's why I feel like teams like, Oregon, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Miami, like all of those teams, like had that extra time to rest. I feel like it's more of a premium than, Georgia, Ohio State, and Indiana.
Well, last year all teams that had the bye weeks lost. So like,
it's kind of like it's kind of like in the NCAA tournament, where it's just like, hey, like if you get too much rest,
right,
you're
and then you get rusty.
Yeah, you kind of just get a little bit rusty.
We see that in the NFL occasionally, with the team with the bye week. Yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll cover, I'm sure, as the weeks progress on the pod, we'll cover the rest of the matchups. But I just really wanted to nail down the first weeks. But I can't end the podcast here with Raymond's trivia question. But before we do that, I just want to know, who do y'all have for the championship game? Let's hear some predictions.
Go ahead.
I'm going Alabama, Ohio State. I think
I've seen that movie too many times.
I don't think anybody's beating Ohio State on that side of the bracket, at least.
I think it'll be I think it'll be Indiana and Georgia.
Ooh.
I agree with Indiana. I'll give them that. I think they kind of got a cakewalk to it, as long as they can keep it together. But I gotta roll with the Canes, like,
of course,
picking casual teams.
And wouldn't that be a home game? It's in Miami.
Yeah,
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
Miami.
It's in Miami.
Listen,
Miami.
Can we go?
I could go.
What you doing January 19th? JD?
I'll fly down.
No, them tickets are outrageous. I don't think they would be I don't think they're the home team, but that would be a home game.
I'll get us a free hotel room.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll talk about that later. Man, I don't know. People are sleeping on Texas Tech. I saw something on Twitter a video of like during COVID, like 8 billionaires got together and just funneled a whole bunch of money through Texas Tech, and
All that oil money.
yeah, that's the reason why they're relevant now. But I don't like them, so they're not even on my radar.
Yeah.
Raymond, let's.
As much money is being pumped into them,
Mm-hmm.
amount of exposure they are not getting relative to every
Yeah,
other school.
totally. It's
like-
crazy.
It's like, okay, it's like, oh, I'm not gonna lie, like I know Texas Tech has a bye, but like I didn't know they had a bye.
Right. Yeah. You know they're in the playoffs, but you.
Yeah, it was like, oh, I
They're
thought they would
relevant.
be like a 6 seed or something like
Yep.
that.
Yeah,
And you're-
they're irrelevant.
oh, you get the last 4 seed. And then I also saw somewhere on social where it was just like it took Nebraska or is like Texas A&M, and all of the main schools to lead the Big 12 for them to win a Big 12 championship.
That's
like-
you know what? That makes a lot of sense. I
Yeah.
never even put those 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, it's like who they like. You're telling me before Patrick Mahomes, they
Yeah.
were somebody.
No way. Well, I mean,
Yeah, I take that back. I remember when they had there was that. This was before the Big 12 championship game where there was that big 3-way tie
mhm.
between, I think it was
I'll never forget it.
Texas and Missouri, or
I think it was Texas
Texas.
Tech, Texas, and Oklahoma.
Yep.
yes, so it was.
Texas beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma beat Texas Tech, and Texas Tech beat Texas with that stupid Michael Crabtree catch.
I was
Yeah.
about to say, wasn't that the Michael Crabtree year? Yeah, I remember that. That's the only other time they've been relevant.
Yeah, that was like 2009,
9?
8. Something
Yeah.
old.
Right. What year was that? You know, you remember. You're scarred
Yeah, it
by
was like 2009 was
Yeah.
like the year they went to the championship against Alabama. Should have won that one, but doesn't matter.
Cole McCoy got hurt.
Yeah.
That's my GOAT.
All right, Raymond, let's hear your trivia question.
All right. It's a little blend of college football and NFL.
God.
Can you name me 5 Hall of Fame players
No.
who went to the University of Notre Dame?
I hate Notre Dame. No. The bus?
One.
Oh, really?
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't even remember his name.
Jerome
Drum.
Bettis?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. The bus? No, I can't. Mean Joe Green?
Quarterback? I think there was a quarterback.
There was a quarterback, definitely. It should be the easiest one.
Terry Bradshaw? No.
Nah, he went to like
Yeah, he went to Louisiana Tech.
I wanted to say Chris Winkie, but I know he went to Florida State.
I know the Notre Dame quarterback.
I'm stumped.
Who's the quarterback?
Oh, you're gonna say, and it's gonna piss me off. I don't know it.
Arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
I know. I don't know it. I know.
49ers.
I
Chief.
know. Yes.
Steve Young? Oh.
Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Steve Young was a Mormon.
Yeah, I knew. I knew that, but I couldn't get it out. I could see it.
All right. Well, 2 out of 5. Does pretty good.
All right, who are the other 3?
It doesn't matter. They withdrew their name from contention.
All right, that's all, folks. We'll catch you on the next episode. Goodbye.
Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this podcast, please follow us on all socials at Not Advised Podcast. Again, this was Not Advised Podcast, the fantasy football podcast based off of vibes and opinions. So if you stay winning off this nonsense we are spitting, we want to split in.